What's up, YouTube? It's Glenniford here. A little segment that I would like to do, kind of show some love for a portion of Savage Worlds that I think a lot of people might not be familiar with. You be the judge. Either way, I'm gonna let you know it exists. The Savage Worlds Adventurers Guild, also known as SWAG, can be found on Drive-Thru RPG. I call this Swag's Corner. Swag's Corner with Glenniford. I'll probably throw a link in the doobly-doo. God, I've always wanted to say that. Link in the doobly-doo. I might even do like the little guy from Futurama every time I do it too. We'll see. Maybe I should probably add a noise, like a... We're just gonna go over some of the products they have over on the Savage World Adventurers Guild. And today, I'm gonna go over Herbal Alchemy. I'm sorry if I botch any of these names, but it is by Jen Sutcliffe and Christian Serrano. This is essentially another arcane background for Savage Worlds. By default, the arcane backgrounds for Savage Worlds are limited to... You're never ever really limited to Savage Worlds if we're being real. Superpowers, you have miracles, you have magic, you have weird science. I believe that's it, but I like to play with a lot of different things, so I believe that is it by default. Herbal Alchemy kind of gives another layer to that, and it's not complicated. That's what I love about Savage Worlds, is it's just so easy to kind of put things in, take things out. I am a big fan of having something that is just so malleable and just so easy to form into what it is that I need for my game. And in this case, Herbal Alchemy was exactly what I needed. So I had a player in my game, 50 Fathoms, for anyone who doesn't know. It's essentially pirate fantasy. A lot of water, very little land. But they'll find that land, I promise you. Because it's familiar and they like it. Now, this person was playing an Atani race, which they're essentially like elves that glide. Like flying squirrel elves. He really wanted to do like sabotage and stuff, but he wanted it to be closer to a little bit more on the magical side, right? He didn't want it to just be as simple as I get a bomb, I plant the bomb. He wanted to have some options, right? I had Herbal Alchemy already. There was actually every now and then, I think there's like an arcane pack that you can get on Savage Worlds Adventurers Guild. And they've got different packs, some bundles that come up every now and then. And I was able to grab it then. I thought it looked great. There were some other things in there that also looked awesome. I was like, yes, this is a perfect opportunity to throw this in there. So what is Herbal Alchemy and how does it work? Glenniford. So I will tell you, creating potions, creating bombs, creating tonics, it's all in the flavoring, which in Savage Worlds, the trappings, right? The trappings are very important, so make sure that your players are putting those trappings on these potions and tonics and bombs, or however it is that you want them to make it. So what's really nice about this PDF, and it's one page, which is amazing. It's in the same format as the Suede Savage Worlds Adventurers Edition. Same format with the dual columns. You don't have to be a rocket surgeon to understand this, which is perfect. So what this is going to enable you to do is, let's say they choose a couple different powers, and I like to think of them as recipes. So my player had these recipes, and in combat, ideally before combat, he would make a survival roll, and he would go out into the wilderness or dive beneath the ocean, maybe grab like some kelp or whatever it is. He'd look for plants, he'd go hunting, whatever it is that he needs to do, which he can do once per day. And there's a set amount of power points that you have, similar to Weird Science. So you don't have the full capacity that you would if you were an elementalist in 50 Fathoms. Where it really excels is, let's say that person makes a potion, healing potion being, the classic potion. which this group, they never ended up having any issues with healing because they had a healing mage and healing alchemists that also like to entangle them. So he'd make potions. He'd make little healing potions. He'd gather up materials, and those materials are power points. So whenever he's going into the forest or he's diving beneath the ocean, he's spearfishing or gathering kelp or whatever it is he's doing, his rolls are generating power points. His power points don't have a cap, so he is able to store those power points, and if he's saving for a rainy day, he's saving them for a rainy day. Whereas the other arcane backgrounds, well, they have a cap, right? So they can have a ton of mana, aka power points, but it only ever recharges to whatever their cap is. So we had a Kraken, which looks a lot like a Mind Flayer in the game, and he had like 25 power points. So he would regenerate the power points, but it would only ever get to 25. My Atani Alchemist, if he wanted to save him up so he had 50 power points, he can do that. But he can only put a certain amount into each potion. They did add an additional edge in here, Herbal Mastery, that increases that cap, which is awesome. So now whenever you're creating something in the game, you got two hurdles, right? Do you have the recipe that you need? So like, let's say it's the entangle power. Maybe he throws a potion, and whenever he throws the potion, the trapping is that vines come out and they grapple and entangle and bind all the enemies in an area, or maybe it's single target, or whatever the cap is on that. So that cap can be increased, so this way he can create even crazier, more powerful potions. And because Savage Worlds is just so dynamic, it allows for some like really cool potions and for him to create them as needed. Boost lower trait being a huge one that, you know, maybe you're about to go into a fight. Well, I want my warrior to be super strong or super vigorous, and you know, drink this and that's going to boost your stats, right? So it was actually really, really fun from a narrative perspective, and it gave that character just like one more dynamic, another like layer to that character, where anytime a day was passing, you know, that was something that he was trying to do. And in 50 Fathoms, it was great because if you're in the middle of the ocean, there's not always stuff that you can get in the middle of the ocean. So sometimes I was more forgiving than others, but yeah, in the middle of the ocean, nah, there are definitely days, nah dog, you ain't get anything. So yeah, so what's great about the PDF is it's gonna break down which powers qualify for this. So what recipes that you can get, your player would then choose which recipes they would have on hand, and then they would just have to make those survival rolls to generate power points, because they're not gonna recoup them like a normal character. They have to go out and get them like our ancestors did. And that's just made for like a fun little, like, almost like an interlude style or quick encounter, however you want to look at it in Savage World speak, where that was just something fun for that character. And the trappings are huge, right? So maybe that little entanglement bomb, it didn't have to be vines. It could be a sticky glue-like substance, like ice, maybe, right? An ice bomb, kind of make that work for your setting, which is pretty cool. There's definitely some similarities to Weird Science, but this is definitely flavored in such a way, especially with the edge, that it definitely feels different enough. I'm a huge fan of it. It's well done, easy to understand, not complicated. It just made the game that much more fun. It gave the player what they needed, and at the end of the day, that's really all you want, right? You can go to the Savage Worlds Adventure Guild and see what they got. There's stuff on there that's pay what you want. There's stuff on there that's free. There's stuff on there that, you know, costs $1, $2, $5, $10, whatever the case may be, right? but definitely a worthy investment. I had a lot of fun with it. There are other edges that work with this. And it details which edges do work, which edges do not work. And yeah, great product. Cannot recommend it enough. This has been Swag's Corner with Glenniford, and if you want to see more content like this, let me know. Feel free to like, subscribe, and yeah, I'm gonna keep going through. I've got a ton of Savage Worlds Adventurers Guild stuff that I'd love to talk about more, and some things I've played with more than others. Some I'm excited to implement. I'm probably gonna go through some of the things that I've actually had like a fair amount of experience with so far before I get into some of the things that I'm just excited about but haven't really used in a campaign yet. So yeah, this is Glenniford signing out. Bye.